There was a time, long before words shaped our world, when the first humans stood beneath skies ablaze with ancient stars. In that silence, they didn't just see the heavens, they spoke to them, not with voices but with the quiet language of intention, alignment, and trust. Somewhere along the way, humanity forgot how to speak that language. But the universe, it never stopped listening. What if I told you that every word you whisper in frustration, every thought that flickers across your mind before sleep, and even the silent wishes you've abandoned, all of them ripple across unseen currents, touching the edges of reality itself? The question isn't whether the universe hears you. The question is whether you know how to speak in a way it understands. This is not about manifesting a new car or chanting affirmations into the void, hoping for a response. This is about remembering a forgotten art, a bridge between your soul and the intelligence that pulses through all things. The ancient mystics, from the temples of Egypt to the secluded Himalayan caves, understood this dialogue not as prayer in the modern sense, but as a sacred conversation, a rhythm, a resonance, a merging of will and cosmic flow. In this video, we will unlock that ancient dialogue. First, we'll step back in time to uncover the wisdom left behind in secret texts and whispered teachings. Then we'll break down the mechanics, the subtle laws governing how thought, word, and energy become the language of creation. Finally, we'll ground this knowledge into practice, practical methods you can begin using today to speak with clarity, so that what you send into the universe returns not as faint echoes, but as living answers. Prepare yourself. This is not a technique to be memorized. This is a way of being, a reawakening of something you've always known but have long buried beneath noise and doubt. The conversation is already happening. The only question is, are you ready to speak? Long before modern spirituality was reduced to catchy slogans and oversimplified affirmations, ancient cultures understood that communication with the cosmos was not a plea to some distant external power, but an intimate dialogue between the self and the fabric of existence itself. This understanding was not confined to any single tradition. It emerged independently, whispered across centuries and civilizations, from the temple priests of Egypt to the forest sages of Vedic India, from the shamanic chants of the indigenous Americas to the silent meditations of Taoist mystics in the East. In the Emerald Tablet, a cornerstone of Hermetic philosophy, the principle of as above so below was revealed, a profound declaration that what happens in the heavens reflects within you, and what you birth within yourself shapes the outer world. This was not poetic metaphor. It was a direct key to understanding that you are not a separate observer of the universe. You are a living, breathing verse within it. The ancient Egyptians held that words were not mere tools for communication, but living forces infused with power. They called it Heka, a divine magic encoded into every utterance. To speak was to cast a spell, aligning thought, sound, and will with the underlying intelligence that weaves all things together. Speech for them was both creation and command, each word a seed sown into the infinite field of possibility. The Vedas, ancient texts of India, echo a similar truth. In their cosmology, Vak, the goddess of speech, was the creative power behind all existence. Every mantra, every invocation was not a request for divine favor. It was a tuning fork, vibrating the personal self into resonance with the cosmic self, the Atman with the Brahman. To speak well was to shape reality. To speak without awareness was to drift aimlessly, cut off from the rhythm of life itself. In Taoist tradition, this communication was even subtler. The Tao, the way, was not something to command, but something to merge with. To speak to the universe in the Taoist sense was to become so silent within that your very being spoke louder than words. Intent, breath, and the flow of inner and outer nature became one. No separation, no begging, no noise, only clear alignment. Even the early Christian Gnostics spoke of the Logos, the divine word through which all things came into being. But the Logos was not merely the voice of God, it was the bridge between the material and the spiritual, a reminder that language, when aligned with pure intent, could pierce the veil between seen and unseen, calling the formless into form. Across all these traditions, a single thread connects them, the understanding that the universe is not deaf. It responds, mirrors, and shapes itself in dialogue with every soul willing to engage it. But the language it understands is not one of panic, doubt, or hurried requests. It is the language of clarity, coherence, and unwavering intent. To speak to the universe is to remember this ancient contract that what you send out is not a question to something greater than yourself, but a message to a part of you so vast, so ancient, that it holds the stars within its silence. This is the foundation upon which the practice rests. Not wishful thinking, not blind belief, but a deliberate re-entry into a forgotten conversation, where every word is both echo and answer. To speak to the universe is not to plead with a distant force, nor is it the mere repetition of affirmations disconnected from true belief. It is an act of resonance, a merging between your inner frequency and the vast intelligence that holds existence together. When ancient mystics spoke of the universe, they weren't describing something external. They were describing a field of awareness in which you exist and through which you think, feel, and breathe. You do not speak to the universe, you speak within it. And so, every thought, every word, every silence leaves an imprint. Imagine the universe as an ocean, vast, powerful, and responsive. Most people are like pebbles tossed into it, sending out chaotic ripples with no clear pattern. Their desires, doubts, fears, and frustrations clash against each other, scattering their signal before it reaches the deeper currents. To speak to the universe effectively, you must become like a tuning fork, clear, singular, and unwavering in your vibration, sending out a pure note that the ocean cannot help but echo back. The 3 layers of universal speech. There are 3 primary ways human beings communicate with the universe: thought, word, and embodied state. Each is a layer of language, and when they are aligned, the message becomes undeniable. 1. The silent pulse of thought. Every thought, whether fleeting or sustained, has weight within the subtle fabric of reality. The ancient Egyptians believed thoughts existed before words, the silent fire sparking reality into form. In Kabbalistic teachings, the realm of Bariah, the world of thought, is where creation takes shape before descending into physical reality. But not all thoughts hold equal power. A scattered mind, running from fear to desire to doubt, sends a signal fractured and unclear, like a lantern flickering in the fog. Only focused thought, held not through force but through calm certainty, penetrates the layers of reality where creation begins. The question is not whether your thoughts are heard. They are always heard. The question is whether they are strong enough, clear enough, and sustained long enough to take root in the fertile soil of the unseen. 2. The breath of spoken word. Speech is the ancient bridge between inner and outer worlds. The Genesis account in the Abrahamic tradition states, "And God said, 'Let there be light.' Not God thought, but God said." In Hermetic and Gnostic traditions, the Logos, the divine word, is the very structure upon which reality rests. But the modern tongue has lost its power. Most words are spoken with no awareness, no alignment between inner will and outer expression. To speak to the universe is not to simply talk. It is to allow your voice to carry the weight of your intent, to vibrate through the hidden corridors where form is born. Every word must become a seal, locking your intent into the framework of existence. This is why ancient invocations and mantras were repeated not as superstitious chants, but as calibrations, each sound aligning the personal frequency with the cosmic current, like adjusting a radio until the signal comes through clear. 3. The unspoken command of embodied state. The final, and often forgotten, way you speak to the universe is through your state of being. What you embody, the frequency you hold in your breath, your posture, your actions, is the loudest message of all. You cannot beg for abundance while embodying lack. You cannot plead for love while embodying fear. Your state is your broadcast. In Taoist practice, this is called Wu Wei, the state of effortless alignment, where being itself becomes the message. In this state, you do not need to ask, because your presence already speaks. The universe does not respond to what you want, it responds to what you are. When these 3 layers, thought, word, and state, move in harmony, you do not need to scream into the void. The universe hears the whisper beneath your breath, because your very existence hums with the frequency of your desire. The echo principle. Understanding response, the universe does not answer in the language of human words. It answers in symbols, synchronicities, and shifts in reality. To speak to the universe is also to learn its language, reading the subtle signs woven into your daily experience. The ancient Greeks called this the language of omens, a bird flying against the wind, a series of numbers repeating, a stranger saying exactly what you needed to hear. These are not coincidences. They are echoes. When your message is clear, the universe begins to speak back, not always with direct answers, but with invitations, pathways, and whispers guiding you deeper into alignment. The question, then, is not simply how to speak to the universe, but whether you have quieted yourself enough to hear when it answers. The language of resonance, tuning yourself to be heard. If the universe is a field of intelligence, then speaking to it is less about volume and more about resonance, matching your inner frequency to the pattern of what you wish to call forth. This is why monks chant, mystics fast, and shamans dance for hours beneath the stars, not to beg, but to attune. Imagine you are standing before a great mirror, not of glass, but of reality itself. Every thought, every word, every gesture sends a ripple across that mirror. But the mirror does not reflect your wants. It reflects your being. To speak effectively, you must become what you wish to call back. The ancient Hermeticists understood this well. Their teachings, preserved in the Kybalion, describe the universe as mental in nature, a boundless mind in which all things are formed. What you hold in your mind, consistently and with clarity, ripples out into this mental field. But a mind filled with contradiction sends out confused signals, and the universe mirrors that confusion back. The clarity of your message determines the clarity of your response. This is why so many who try to manifest find themselves receiving mixed results. They say they want wealth, but their mind hums with scarcity. They ask for love, but their heart radiates distrust. The universe hears the frequency beneath the words, and it responds to that. The importance of internal authority. Ancient traditions, from the Vedic sages to the Hermetic philosophers, understood a truth often lost today. You cannot speak to the universe with authority if you have no authority over yourself. Self-mastery is not just a path to enlightenment. It is the foundation of clear communication. A scattered mind, a conflicted heart, a body ruled by impulse. These create static in the transmission. Every doubt, every contradiction weakens the signal. This is why the mystery schools demanded inner purification before teaching the higher arts. The voice of an undisciplined mind gets lost in the noise of the world. The voice of a disciplined mind cuts through the veil like a blade. To speak to the universe, you must become a singular note, a clear vibration undistorted by internal conflict. This is not about being perfect. It is about being whole, resolving the war between your desires, your beliefs, and your actions, until they all speak with one voice. The law of correspondence, matching the inner and outer worlds. In the Hermetic system, the law of correspondence teaches that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. This is not just metaphysical poetry, it is practical mechanics. The universe does not respond to isolated requests. It responds to patterns, and your patterns are built from your daily thoughts, emotions, and actions. Speaking to the universe means aligning those patterns with the reality you wish to experience. Every thought you entertain, every word you speak, every action you take either strengthens or weakens the message you are sending. A moment of clarity cannot override a day of fear. A burst of confidence cannot cancel weeks of doubt. The universe listens to the whole conversation, not just the loudest parts. This is why ancient rites often included ritual acts, physical gestures, and symbolic offerings to align the body, mind, and spirit into a single transmission. Whether through dance, prayer, or silent meditation, the purpose was always the same: to align the inner signal with the desired outer reflection. The role of emotion, fuel for the signal. Emotion is not an obstacle to spiritual communication, it is the power source. In ancient cultures, prayers were not whispered from a place of detached politeness. They were embodied with the full weight of human longing, gratitude, or awe. Emotion is the fuel that propels intention through the subtle fabric of creation. But here lies the key. The emotion must match the desired outcome. If you speak to the universe from a place of desperation, the signal you send is not of abundance, but of emptiness. If you speak from fear, You call back experiences that match that fear. The most powerful prayers, the most potent invocations are spoken not from lack, but from certainty, as though the thing you seek is already alive within you. This is why gratitude is so often emphasized, not because the universe requires thanks, but because gratitude places you in the frequency of receiving. To thank the universe before the answer arrives is to send a signal that the answer is inevitable. The veil of time. Understanding delayed responses. One of the greatest misunderstandings in modern spirituality is the expectation of instant feedback. The ancients understood that time is the servant of form. What you speak into the universe is not always returned immediately, because the patterns of reality must shift to accommodate the new signal. In the esoteric traditions, this is called the gestation period, the time between seed and harvest, intention and manifestation. This is not a delay. It is the natural unfolding of creation. The universe is not withholding. It is rearranging. The clearer the message and the greater your internal alignment, the shorter the gap. But impatience, doubt, and interference can unravel the process before it completes. This is why faith, not blind belief, but calm certainty, was considered the highest state of mind. Not because the universe needs your faith, but because you do. Faith holds the signal steady, preventing the static of doubt from distorting the transmission. The cosmic feedback loop. Life as the mirror. Once you understand that the universe is always listening, you realize something profound. Your life right now is the current answer to the signals you've been sending. Every relationship, every challenge, every opportunity or obstacle is part of the response. If you want to know how clearly you've been speaking to the universe, look at your life, not as punishment or reward, but as feedback, a cosmic echo revealing the shape of your inner dialogue. If you do not like what you see, you are not powerless. You are the speaker, and you can change the message at any time. The conversation never ends. Every thought, every word, every breath is part of it. The question is not whether the universe will respond. It always does. The question is, are you willing to become fluent in the language of creation? Speaking to the universe is not an abstract ritual reserved for ancient mystics or spiritual elites. It is an accessible art, waiting to be reclaimed by anyone willing to approach it with intention, patience, and clarity. These practical steps will guide you in becoming fluent in this ancient language, where thought, word, and presence converge into a clear conversation with existence itself. Step 1. Clear the inner channel. Before you can send a clear message, you must quiet the noise within. Most people are broadcasting constantly, fragments of fear, fleeting desires, and unexamined doubts, all competing for attention. This static drowns out the clarity of your true intent. Set aside daily silence, even if just for a few minutes. Sit without agenda, observing your thoughts as if they belong to someone else. Begin to filter which thoughts are truly yours and which are inherited fears, conditioned doubts, or passing distractions. The clearer your inner space, the more potent your signal becomes. Step 2. Define your true intent. Vagueness is the enemy of clear communication. The universe does not respond to half-formed wishes or contradictory desires. Before you speak, know what you are asking for. Not just the surface request, but the deeper desire beneath it. Ask yourself, what do I truly seek? Not the object, but the state. If you seek wealth, is it security you desire? Freedom? A sense of accomplishment? Distill your intent to its core essence. The simpler, the clearer, the stronger the signal. Write it down, not as a plea, but as a declaration. Step 3. Align thought, word, and action. This is where most falter. They think one thing, say another, and act in a way that contradicts both. The universe cannot decode mixed signals. All three, thought, word, and action, must speak the same message. Hold the image of your intent in your mind daily, not with strain, but with familiarity, as though greeting an old friend. Speak your desire aloud, but only when you are centered, not from longing or doubt, but from quiet certainty. Take actions that reflect your intent. If you are speaking abundance, do not act from scarcity. If you are calling love, do not retreat into fear. When thought, word, and action harmonize, you become a clear signal. Step 4. Speak in present certainty, not future hope. The universe does not understand someday. It responds to what you embody now. Speak your desire in the present tense, as though it is already part of your reality. I am guided to the right path. Opportunities flow toward me effortlessly. I stand in the presence of love. Speak these not as requests, but as statements of existing truth. This is not lying to yourself. It is speaking from the version of you that already exists in potential. Step 5. Use emotion as fuel. Words alone are weak without emotional charge. This is not theatrical drama, but genuine feeling, the sense of knowing that what you seek is not distant, but inevitable. When you speak, let yourself feel the reality you are describing. Breathe into it. If you cannot summon the feeling, the message is not ready to be sent. Gratitude is a powerful amplifier. Thank the universe not for what you lack, but for the unfolding path already beneath your feet. Step 6. Watch for the echo. The universe rarely answers with direct words. It speaks in signs, synchronicities, and subtle shifts. Once you send your message, your work is to observe. Patterns will shift. Unexpected opportunities or obstacles will appear. You will be guided, sometimes gently, sometimes through disruption, toward what you asked for. Do not dismiss anything as coincidence. Everything is part of the dialogue. Step 7. Stay out of the way. One of the most critical and difficult practices once you have spoken your intent clearly. Release it. Do not cling, question, or obsess over when it will arrive. Obsession is a message of doubt, and doubt scrambles the signal. Trust the timing, even if it does not match your preferences. Trust the form, even if it arrives differently than expected. Trust the process, even if it unfolds through discomfort or uncertainty. Speak, release, and stay aligned. The universe responds to steady signals, not erratic broadcasts. Overcoming common obstacles. Treat doubt like a passing shadow. Notice it, but do not feed it. Contradiction. If your outer actions contradict your inner desire, pause and realign. Impatience. Understand that gestation precedes birth. Trust the process. If frustration arises, return to silence. Realign. Speak again. Daily practice template. Morning silence, 3-5 minutes. Review your intent, feel it, see it, trust it. Speak your aligned statement aloud. Take one action that reinforces your message. Observe the day's events for responses. No judgment, only awareness. Evening gratitude. Thank the universe for the conversation unfolding. Speaking to the universe is not a single act, it is an ongoing relationship. A conversation between your soul and the vast intelligence that holds all things. The clearer, calmer, and more consistent you become, the louder your voice resonates through the fabric of existence. The universe is listening. The only question is, are you willing to speak with your whole being? There is a truth so ancient, so embedded in the foundation of existence, that it was whispered long before languages were born. You are not separate from the universe you seek to speak with. Every breath, every thought, every longing is already part of the cosmic conversation. The question has never been whether you have the right to speak. The question has always been whether you are willing to remember how. The universe does not withhold its answers out of cruelty or indifference. It waits, patiently, endlessly, for you to become fluent in the language of creation. A language spoken not with desperation, but with clarity, not with noise, but with presence. Not with external begging, but with internal authority. When ancient mystics stood beneath the night sky, they did not see stars. They saw reflections, points of light mirroring the inner constellations they carried within. To them, the universe was not a distant thing to be pleaded with. It was a living intelligence, listening with infinite patience, responding to the vibration of the soul itself. To speak to the universe is to understand that you are already heard. Every doubt you've voiced in silence, every unspoken wish, every whispered hope, the universe received them all. The challenge is not in being heard, it is in being clear. When your mind, heart, and spirit harmonize into a singular note, the response becomes inevitable. Not always in the form you expect, not always in the timing you prefer, but always in alignment with the message you've sent. And now, the invitation is yours. Not to learn something new, but to remember something ancient. To step into the role you were always meant to hold, not as a powerless observer in a chaotic world, but as a conscious participant in the living dialogue between self and cosmos. Tonight, when the noise of the world fades and silence wraps around you like a second skin, speak, not with your mouth, but with your whole being. Speak from that place within you that knows. Speak with certainty, with presence, with the weight of your own authority. The universe is listening. It always has been. The only question that remains is, what will you say?